Yo, JD here, Limitless, and we are finally back on F1 2019. It's been a little while because I've been doing some F1 esports practice with the Renault guys, and have to say that has been going extremely well. Really proud to be part of that organisation, and yeah, just so happy for the guys who everyone's involved in it. But back on this was done about a week or so ago, a week and a half ago now, in the Inside Line Racing League ILR, as you all know, which is what I do on Friday, and this is probably going to be out before Friday, or if not on Friday itself, so check out my stream, which I do in 7:30 on those days. My first lap here at Spa, all going on the softs for all of these runs. I invalidated the first run, this is my second one. This lap was actually going pretty good until this, which I can't count how many times I've spun out on the qualifying lap this season, just trying to push it too hard. And yeah, for this one, pretty familiar story. Didn't really get too much time to prepare for this because I've just been super busy with so many things recently, but hopefully one day I really can dedicate a lot more time, because I feel if I do, then I can just be much more consistent at what I can do. But this lap here, very good turn one. This is pretty much my only lap I did. All the other laps were either invalid or I crashed, so this one was the only valid one I did, and really kind of had to get a lap on the board here. So a very good turn one actually. I actually compromised my wings because you may have saw at the start of the video, it's actually going to be a full wet race, so that's going to be pretty difficult. As we actually set the fastest first sector, 29.5 with 1.7 wings is not a bad first sector, so that's pretty good, but we actually go out wide there, so that was not optimal. I was really struggling through this middle sector, the most technical sector really, so going through here, not as tight as I really would like to be. Probably looks quite good watching this, but especially this going through Podium now, missing a good chunk of time. Really should be going in 7th gear through there, just looking back at some footage now. But going to this corner, I really like this one, so I managed to hook this one up pretty nicely. But this one here, if you kiss it so slightly, you can see almost losing the back end of the car. Going to this one again, 3rd gear, should have shifted a little bit better. Only about a 10th down on pole. It says I did a purple middle sector, but I don't really believe that. I think the game is a little bit misleading at times, but lap is reasonably okay at this point. But now coming into the final chicane, I actually really enjoy this corner. Electing to use 1st gear just to get a little bit extra rotation. I actually went a bit too hot, more than I would like. Getting the DRS, coming across the line to 42.6, less than a 10th away from the provisional pole position. But in the end, you'll be able to see what the pole time actually was as we go on to it here now. V-Sire 42.2, so about 3 tenths away, 3 and a bit tenths away, and honestly, I was really happy with that. I know I probably said it every single quali session, but considering how much I could prepare for it, I think that's probably the best I could do. Maybe a 4 if I did a bit of a tie up. Because see here now, that doesn't really mean anything because it's a full wet race, and this is my first time in these conditions. So on the formation lap, I was really just trying to leave a big space, as you can see here, because going up through El Rouge or Radillon, I just didn't know what to do whatsoever. So we're on the grid here. We've got 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, waiting for them to go out. As they go out now, getting a pretty decent start using lean and high, which someone recommended to me, and it worked. I actually had a pretty good getaway, trying to go around the outside, trying not to get any damage. We actually got up into P5 because unfortunately Snazzy Evening actually is disconnected from the session, so very unlucky to him. So we've actually maintained position behind Veloce Surprise, and take a look at this. Look at my throttle. We actually brake going up there, and you can see Leopard is just steamed past me. I'm under immense pressure from behind. I don't know if you can take that flat out. I don't know if you can take a half speed. That was just a completely new experience going on full wet tyres. Going up El Rouge's Brown has gone into the wall, so that's actually a position made up after losing one from Leopard. So we're currently where we are, where we started at this point. And now, kind of similar to the race I had at WOR Austria recently, where I got on the podium there. I think that was my last league race before this. These laps are very cautious for me. not aggressive in the slightest, that just didn't have any confidence whatsoever. But it's about just really trying to build up, and I couldn't really think of really a harder track than Spa to get comfortable in the full wet, because the curbs are pretty lethal and yeah, very, very punishing. You can see we've lost a little bit of time to the leaders, but they've actually started to bunch up a bit now. So lap by lap, I was getting more and more confident, starting to push the traction a lot more. And at this point, I was feeling 100 times more comfortable than I did on the first lap at least. As V Cyro, we're coming right up behind him, because I think he has actually made a mistake going at Eau Rouge, his own mistake, and actually hit the wall. So he's actually lost quite a big chunk of his wing, which means we're going to really comfortably get past him. He's not really fighting it too hard. And then we've been promoted to P4. And after a really, really shaky start, not really having any pace or any confidence, we're not even that far away from the leaders now. I'm skipping on to the end of lap 4. See, actually downshifting there, which was really not necessary. But you can see the leaders are not far away, and under braking, particularly under braking, I was feeling very, very confident, very strong, and I think I was using like 90 brake pressure or something as well. So pretty surprising, but lap by lap, I just felt getting 10 times more confident every single lap, and again making up a bit of time here. It seems to be Joe is struggling, so I don't know if he has damage or anything. A Surprise is doing what Surprise does. He's going off into the distance at this point. He's looking at a tyre wear ever so briefly there. But you can see again, going through here, still a little bit of braking going up there. So you can see how much time they pulled away, but I can tell you it's definitely getting better and better each lap. And I was really hoping that they would start to fight each other. But going through here now, you can see going to 7th gear this time. And look at this on the brakes. Really, really confident. Actually overshooting it ever so slightly though. But I felt quicker than these two guys at the moment. So yeah, feeling more and more comfortable at every single corner. But the problem is, in these conditions, it's just so hard to overtake. It's literally impossible to be earlier on the throttle than the guy ahead unless he makes a big mistake. And going up for Eau Rouge, that was definitely my weakest corner on the track, so there's no way I could really get a good run. But luckily I don't really have too much of a threat behind me. We can see definitely better that time, although I'm still braking going up there. I was just so really just conscious about just clipping the curb and spinning into the wall, because I've done that before in the wet on the previous F1 game. So but you can see again on the braking, really, really making up a lot of time here. And at this point my mind was really just trying to put Leopard under as much pressure as possible, because it's clear Joe is definitely struggling in these conditions, and Leopard's kind of in a sandwich between me and him. If I can really force Leopard into mistake, you can see mid-apex we're just carrying a lot more speed than him, which is surprising because I'm running quite a low downforce already. So yeah, it's pretty surprising. I'm actually closing him in the corners. I felt if I could just get ahead of these two, probably be pretty optimistic to try and get after the surprises. OMG's Joe has actually disconnected from the session, so that is very, very unlucky for him. So I know how that feels. Don't really wish that upon anyone, but hopefully he could get back in the session. But now it's really just trying to get past him as quick as possible, as we'll almost lose the car, because as I said before, if you just kiss that curb, pretty much almost just spits you out. We just about got ahead of Joe now as we do, and that is us into a podium position. So despite not having insane raw pace, although it's getting much better now as we're going through here in 8th gear, so almost flat out. So as I said, just being much more aggressive lap by lap, and really, really good under the brakes here, really, really good. But
10-second penalty.
We cut that corner and it gives me an instant 10-second penalty, and that's the game just does that sometimes. So but I wasn't really too worried actually, to be honest, because I was pretty confident that we'd be getting removed. As we're going to the bus up again, I think me and Leopard both outbraked us up, and he goes into the pits. I set a purple middle sector there, so again, putting some good pace up now, going across the line. We've got Surprise ahead of me, actually going a little bit quicker than him, 6.1 seconds ahead, and Leopard is pitted because, I don't know if these tyres can last to the end of the race. I've never really been on, I don't think I've even been on a full wet tyre in a league race in this game. It's 37%, which means, another 11 laps, they're going to be pushing 80%. So next up, I decide to actually come and surprise, to my surprise, actually continues, because my logic was really that the pit lane's relatively short around here. you're going to be getting quite a big undercut. So if you pit next up, I could definitely be getting closer to him. And I thought on 80% tyres, you're going to be so slow. And this track has got a lot of corners. I thought it made sense to pit, and I saw quite a few other people pitting as well. So Leopard has pitted. And see, coming out here, he comes out. He definitely has gained a little bit more time than me. Syra, I think he had to pit pretty early on. So I felt it was the right decision at this point. I didn't think it was a bad decision whatsoever, because I felt, if anyone did decide to stay out, I didn't think they could actually last the distance of the whole race. I knew they probably wouldn't get a puncher, but I thought they'd literally be about 2 or 3 seconds a lap slower towards the end of the race. So I was pretty confident in that. And you can see we're actually coming up to some people who haven't pitted yet. So this really is for race position, because they can go to the end of the race. Leopard's already dispatched BRL Bruno Will, if I can read that correctly. And I think we're literally just going to stay on board, or we're not. We're actually going to move on to the next lap. But you can see it's really important now that I get past these guys, or get past him as quick as I can, because these conditions are very difficult, and they're going to be going quite a bit slower than me. And we can see we actually are the quickest car on track now, so we've set the fastest lap of the race, just confirming that definitely the pace is definitely improving in these conditions. But it's very hard to overtake in these conditions. It's almost impossible to be early on the throttle than the guy ahead. So I've really got to rely on some good traction. Again, still slightly braking going up here. So still just not completely confident, which means the best overtaking opportunity on the track is really this corner going into here, or the last straight. And I don't think we're going to get anywhere near close on this straight to anyone at all. So I've really got to try and put him under pressure now for his middle sector, similar to what I was trying to do with Leopard in the first stint. Really trying to get on his backside, really trying to feel my mirrors, if you can see me through the rain, and just try and really kind of force him into a mistake. But Leopard, he got past him pretty quickly, and now that's P1R Brown actually ahead of him, who hasn't pitted at all. Actually, no, that's a lie. I think he did pit, but I think he pitted on like lap 1 of the race or something like that, or he might not have pitted at all. We'll probably realise that at the end of the race itself. But yeah, so I really need to get past him now, because Leopard's going to be held up by him, and I really want to try and beat Leopard. And you can see, surprised that dot there, we're definitely making some inroads into him, but his tyres are not going off at all. His lap times are very similar to ours. So the drop off on the wets is not really as I expected at all. So this is a little bit of a lesson here. So again, it's impossible to see, so just try to turn in slightly earlier, just anticipating there'd be some understeer, but there wasn't at all. So actually turning in too early, hitting the grass, trying to take as much speed as possible, almost going off track here. And now I'm very good on the brakes here, so trying to go pretty deep into this corner. He goes a little bit deep, so let's see if that 7 rear wing will give me some good traction. But again, just a little bit of the dirt, it's just very difficult to get close, and this is really as close as I could get now. And Leopard is all over Brown, and there's another guy, I think that's CRG more so actually in P2, who hasn't, I know for sure, definitely hasn't pitted yet. And we only got 6 laps of this race to go. We're moving towards the end of this lap now. I actually get a slightly better run. He actually goes out wide. I think he's going slightly defensive, so we go round the outside of him, and let's see what happens here. Half alongside him, and I felt like I was just left no room now. I could have just cut the corner, but then probably would have got another penalty, so that wasn't really an option for me. So we're going to go down the inside of here, and that wasn't out of anger. That was just because it was my only real opportunity to actually make a little bit of contact. Luckily, he doesn't spin out or anything at all, and that has given me a warning. But yeah, I had no real option, and he's going to try and go on the racing line going that Beau Rouge, which obviously completely entitled to do. We managed to just navigate through that nicely, and we've got some pretty good straight line speed. I'm not sure exactly where he is, because I think he is lagging ever so slightly, as you can see there. But that is the move done, and a little bit more contact than I would have liked, but hard racing in a day, and I did figure I already had an option to back out. I was already kind of committed on those outside there. But skipping toward the end of the race, you can see the gap between me and Brown was about 5.9 seconds. We did start to close that down, but it wasn't enough at all. That their tyres just, they were able to do a no stop, and their pace was only like half a second slower or something like that. So that was very surprising me. Is Reynolds actually just beats my fastest lap by 2 tenths, and I felt I drove quite well at the end, but just with the strategy, I felt I made a good call, but it wasn't meant to be. So, and I can confirm that 10-second penalty did get removed. So I did in fact finish 4th because Brown had a penalty and I didn't have any more track warnings or anything at all. So finished P4 that race. I'll be linking the championship standings at the end of this video. But as always, thank you so much, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.